What is up, guys? We are back. It's your boy Effie with Any Action Sportscast here with another video where we will be breaking down UFC Vegas 66. Sean Strickland versus Cannonier. This is the last UFC card of the year. We're up 24 units on the year, and we're trying to finish strong, coming off a sweep. We have actually swept a card 2 out of the last 3 weeks, but it's been anything but clean. I'll admit that. We've gotten super lucky lately, and we're just trying to keep it going on this stacked fight night card. Guys, the main event, Cannonier versus Strickland, banger. Arman Tsarukyan versus Damir Ismagulov, banger. Bobby Green versus Drew Dober, banger. Vlismas versus Cory McKenna even. We're going to have a good time watching that fight too. You know what I mean? Shout out to Roman Delidze. We see you, player. So with that, let's get right into it. The first fight of the card will be a bantamweight fight between Sergey Morozov and Newson. Sergey comes in with an 18-5 record, currently sitting as a -250 favorite. Newson comes in with a 10-3 record, currently sitting as a +200 underdog. Both guys are 33 years old, similar height and similar reach. Pretty much identical, actually. I do have to mention before we get into this fight that Sergey Morozov actually wears a furry, funny-looking hat to the octagon, so we gotta start with that. He should be a -200 favorite right away off the bat on that alone. Now, I'm just joking, guys. I'm actually a really big fan of Sergey. I think he's a more well-rounded fighter in this fight. I think he should be safe anywhere this fight goes. Better striking, definitely the better grappler. As far as Journey, you know, just one of those guys where he's pretty much mid everywhere. I'm not impressed with anything that he does. I don't think he's going to be able to win the grappling exchanges here. If anything, he's going to have to hope this stays on the feet. And I think Sergey does have the power advantage. In the fight that he did lose recently, we did see him hurt De Silva before he ended up fading and getting finished himself. But I have faith in Sergey here. Probably a parlay piece, honestly. I will say this, though. He's -250 right now on one of my books, and on another book that I have, he's -300. So I find that super interesting. It just goes to show that you should have multiple books, and if you're out there betting -300 on him when you could get a -250, you know, that's on you. You should definitely have multiple shops, and yeah, I just figured I'd say that because I thought that was weird when I was looking at that today. But yeah, over under is set at 2.5 at -180. It's a little risky, -180, a lot of juice, because I do think that Sergey has some finishing upside here, but I do think that it's going to be a decision, so give me Sergey Morozov via decision. Up next, we have a flyweight fight between David Dvorak and Manel Kape. David Dvorak comes in with a 20-4 record, currently sitting as a +200 underdog. Manel Kape currently coming in with a 17-6 record, sitting as a -240 favorite. These guys are essentially the same tail of the tape. 30 years old on one side for David Dvorak, 29 years old on the other for Manel Kape. Both guys in their prime. Exact same height and reach, 5'5" with a 68-inch reach. Now, this is going to be a super exciting fight, and I'm actually surprised it's the second fight on the card. So when Manel Kape came to the UFC, he's 2-2 in the UFC, and he's a guy that had really high expectations when he came over from Risen. He was a champion in a different organization, a lethal striker, a dynamic striker, and he immediately loses 2 fights in a row. They did, I will say this, they did give him a super tough fight in Alexander Pantoja, and he got dominated essentially. He kept slipping on the mat, and he blamed the loss on the slippery octagon and how he couldn't get used to it. He comes out next fight, had his feet taped up, and he still loses that fight. So we've actually bet on him. We bet on him against Pantoja and lost. We've also bet on him and won against Ode Osborne. He got a sick knockout. He got a sick finish against Zalgas as well, a guy that's super durable, so that's a good sign. So he tends to be finishing his fights when he does win, and he also tends to be getting finished when he loses. Kind of the opposite on the other side. David Dvorak, well, as far as getting finished, David Dvorak, 24 professional fights, has never been finished. He did lose his last fight where he did get hurt and stunned against Mateus Nicolau. But man, I'm high on David Dvorak. I actually had money on him in that fight too. I think he's a good fighter, man. Both guys, like I said, in their prime, 30 years old versus a 29-year-old in Kape. Essentially, this comes down to, I think Kape is the more technical and cleaner striker. He has a tendency to making these fights really close when they shouldn't be. I'm not going to bet him. That line's way too wide. And it's actually a theme throughout the card, guys. We want to talk about live underdogs. This is one. David Dvorak has a really good chance of winning this fight. It's just that the more powerful shots, I think, will be coming from Kape here. And I think that's what will be, you know, the deciding factor here for the judges. Maybe you can look at it as Manel Kape will be a moment winner versus Dvorak being the minute winner. He's going to be coming forward, and Manel Kape has the power to knock him out on his back foot. So give me Manel Kape via 3rd round knockout. Up next, we have a welterweight fight between Bryan Battle and Rinat Fakhretdinov. Bryan Battle coming in as an underdog on short notice with an 8-1 record, currently sitting as a +125 underdog. Rinat coming in with a 20-2 record, currently sitting as a -150 favorite. Bryan Battle will be 3 years younger with a 3-inch reach advantage. And I think that's going to, matter here because I see this fight playing out relatively close. That's why I think the line is pretty close. But I'm kind of surprised how much money's been coming in on Rinat. Rinat earlier this week was -125. So obviously his line's been moving to, -150, -155 area. So I don't know, man. I don't feel that confident in Rinat. I am picking Rinat here. Bryan Battle's a good fighter, man. And not for nothing, if you look at Rinat's regional record, he was fighting bumps. He was fighting 0-0 guys, 0-3 guys, 3-3 guys, 1-2 guys. It's pretty weird, man. That's kind of gives me a bad taste, a stay away vibe, I guess. On the other side, though, Bryan Battle, this is only his second fight ever at welterweight. It's on short notice. But I did see an interview where he was talking about how he was actually hoping to fight before the year ended. And so he was in relatively good shape anyway when he took the call. So the fact that he even got on this card, he was actually really, really happy about. So I don't think he'll be crazy out of shape. But he does have a tough cut to welterweight. Like I said, only his second time ever fighting in this weight class. Fighting a guy who, his game plan is going to be to take down Bryan Battle over and over again. I feel like I don't think he's going to want to strike with him. Bryan Battle, we just saw him KO Soto. Really bad with a head kick. That thing was nice. And he even held his own against a powerful striker like Tresean Gore. I will say he loves his front kicks. He loves the kicks to the body, and I think that might lead to unnecessary takedown opportunities here for Rinat. And it's like I said, what I think he's going to be wanting to do here, get this fight to the ground, control Bryan, and probably win a decision here. So the over, I saw it at over 2.5 -165. And, that's not a bad look. I do like Rinat to win via decision. Up next, we have a lightweight fight between 23-year-old prospect Maheshate and Rafa García. Maheshate comes in with a 9-1 record, currently sitting as a even money +100 underdog. Rafa García comes in with a 14-3 record, currently sitting as a -120 favorite. Maheshate, like I said, will be 23 years old, 5 years younger than the 28-year-old Rafa García here, and he also will have a significant height advantage. He's a 6', 155 lightweight. That's insane. 71-inch reach compared to Rafa Garcia's 68-inch reach. Now, it is pretty hard to go against a 6-foot lightweight fighter here, especially when he has hands like Maheshate. We just saw him KO Steve Garcia, and man, Garcia just kind of ran headfirst into that knockout. It was actually kind of funny. I tweeted out last week that Alexander Hernandez's knockout over Mike Breeden was pretty funny, and Maheshate's knockout over Garcia was pretty funny too. When you're doing the tape study, it's like, oh geez, dude face plants right into the canvas. So, I don't rank that Garcia as high as I do Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia is a pretty good fighter coming off losing to Drakkar Close. Another good fighter. We saw him submit Ronson as well. He's like a pretty up and down fighter, 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but I think he has enough to beat Maheshate here. It's just, I don't want to get in front of Maheshate. He's like a super up and coming prospect here. And man, the UFC doesn't really matchmake guys that they think they're going to lose. They do give them good tests and give them tests for a reason to make them prove it, but 9-1, the kid's young, it's still kind of green. So I can't bet on him here. I'm not going to bet on Rafa Garcia either, even though I do think he's going to win the fight. Give me Rafa Garcia to win via decision. It's going to be a really close fight, but like I said, man, that height and reach advantage is significant. And so, man, I just can't get to the window. This is going to be a banger of a fight, super close fight, and another live underdog, guys. Give me Garcia via decision. Up next, we have one of the more interesting fights on the card when we have a bantamweight fight between Said Nurmagomedov and Said Kakhramonov. Nurmagomedov comes in with a 16-2 record, currently sitting as a slight favorite at -115. Said Kakhramonov coming in as with a 10-2 record, currently sitting as a slight underdog at -105. Essentially a pick'em fight. Both guys 5'8", pretty much exact same reach, 70-inch reach for Nurmagomedov, 69-inch reach for Kakhramonov. Now, this is a banger of a fight. And man, it's close. It's going to be close. I do lean Nurmagomedov here. I do think that he has the better striking here, but it's obvious, guys. Kakhramonov, the way he fights, he's going to be trying to get you down over and over and over again, and he has the gas tank to do it. He's going to be there in that third round. I expect Kakhramonov to be the fresher fighter in that third round, and I'm essentially banking on Nurmagomedov to win the first 2 rounds. In his last fight against De Silva, he didn't look good in that third round. He was getting taken down on pretty bad attempts, in my opinion. Pretty weak. It's kind of strange. You see that name, Nurmagomedov, and you think, oh, he's like one of those guys that just wrestles and holds guys down and blankets guys, wrist controls, rides them, and he's not that. He's one of those spinning kick strikers type of Dagestani guys. This guy loves his kicks, loves spinning kicks, especially. And I worry that that's going to lead to unnecessary takedown windows, just like Bryan battled earlier in the card. Kakhramonov is a smart kid. He knows when to shoot, when not to shoot. We saw him dominate Ronnie Lawrence. I had him in that fight. I was ready to go 5 units on Kakhramonov against Brian Kelleher. I've seen the kid fight 3 times against Jones' debut, where he had a comeback win on super short notice, that's where he got put on my radar. I did see his PFL fight with Umar Nurmagomedov, and that was a good fight too. But and obviously Umar, in my opinion, is gonna be a future champ. But in that Jones fight, he took the fight on short notice. He was in Uzbekistan. He actually told a story about how he took like a 15-hour flight or something. Immediately lands in Vegas. I don't even know if he made weight. He might have missed, and they had to do a catch weight. I can't remember. But essentially, the fight that he flew midweek on days' notice comes in, and he ends up winning the fight. I was like, holy crap, this kid's gonna be really good with the full camp. Ended up taking him against Lawrence, and he delivered, guys. He took him down 10 times. He bogged him pretty much. On the other side, though, Nurmagomedov, man, I just think that he's better striking. I think he's better striking, and he's good enough to keep it on the feet. Even though, like I said, he did fade in that third round of his last fight. So I think that's why it's so close. I can't get to the window on either guy, although the value should say it's on Kakhramonov here, even though you're paying minus money. Give me Saeed Nurmagomedov to win a very close decision, and I can't wait for this fight. Up next, we have a middleweight fight between Julian Marquez and Deron Winn. Marquez comes in with a 9-3 record, currently sitting as a minus 170 favorite, whereas Deron Winn comes in with a 7-3 record, currently sitting as a plus 145 underdog. Oh my goodness, where do we start? Well, for starters, this will be our first bet of the night. We have the over 1.5 rounds at minus 155 for 1.55 units here to win 1. And essentially, I'm praying to God that Deron Winn will be able to last 7.5 minutes in there. We just saw him get absolutely brutalized by Phil Hawes in his last fight. And Marquez, he's not a decision winner. He goes out there and either gets finished or he goes and finishes people. But he is coming off a loss where he fumbled the bag with Miley Cyrus. Look that story up. What are we doing, bro? That could have taken 10 seconds. All-time L by your boy Marquez there. But as far as the fighter, guys, he's 6'2". Deron Winn is 5'6". He's a 5'6" middleweight, guys. What are we doing here, guys? Why is he in the UFC still? Other than being friends with DC, I do not see not one thing that he does good at the UFC level. Even in his last win 2 years ago, he landed, I think it was something like 12 takedowns. And with those 12 takedowns, he racked up, with all that ground control, 20 strikes. That's sad almost. That's terrible, guys. That's the one thing I will say, though. Marquez throws with so much, I guess, reach, you could say, that he leaves himself open to be taken down. He can be taken down by bumps. And Deron Winn is a good wrestler, and he's small and compact. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Marquez overextend here and get taken down by Winn, which is what I think is going to happen, because I think we're going to see desperation takedowns right away. Usually you don't see that until the second or third round, guys are getting rocked, and they're just, oh, fuck, they're just screwed. I got to shoot a takedown. Well, Deron Winn's going to probably do that right away. If he doesn't, then he's going to, end up like he did against Phil Hawes and get his pink slip from the UFC here. So I think that Phil Hawes is, knowing he's fighting for his job here, gonna fight smart, hopefully, and try to extend this fight via the grappling. As far as when it gets there, who's to say that Marquez can't just immediately get up? I think that is a possibility here. He does have some pretty good BJJ off his back, but Deron Winn's so small and he has no finishing ability or threat really that I feel comfortable taking that over, because like I said, essentially I am praying that Deron Winn doesn't get finished in 7.5 minutes here. So I'm going with Marquez here by pretty much any way he wants. Minus 170, I'm surprised it's not wider, guys. I think the reason is because there's a blatant discrepancy in his takedown defense. It's not good, and he's fighting a pure wrestler, and the only thing he's good at is wrestling. So 5'6" middleweight, no way. Give me Marquez via, I'm gonna go third round knockout. Give me Marquez third round knockout. Up next, we have an exciting welterweight fight between Jake Matthews and Matthew Semelsberger. Jake Matthews comes in with an 18-5 record, currently sitting as a minus 270 favorite. Matthew Semelsberger comes in with a 10-4 record, currently sitting as a plus 220 underdog. He will be 2 inches taller than Jake and have a 2-inch reach advantage over Jake, so he'll be the slightly bigger fighter in the octagon. I'm going with Jake Matthews here to win via decision. I don't think either fighter is going to be able to put out either guy. We just saw Jake Matthews, absolutely kind of kill and demolish Andre Fialho in his last fight, where we did have money on him and we were happy to cash that ticket. Semelsberger coming off losing to Morona, where he really didn't do anything and didn't really look good at all until that third round. I think that Matthews has fought the higher level opponents, and essentially has a very significant experience edge here, and is pretty much either equal or better in every area of MMA, in my opinion, than Semelsberger. Whether it's striking, powers in the striking at distance, in the clinch along the cage, grappling. I think that Matthews is covered everywhere here. I think that he's going to be able to win a decision here, but I don't know if he's going to be able to put out Semelsberger. Chaos Williams wasn't able to. And man, Matthews, like I said, he did get controlled and lose to Sean Brady, and he will not have to worry about that here. Sean Brady and Semelsberger are nowhere near the same level of grappling. There's just nothing, in my opinion, that Semelsberger can bring here that Matthews hasn't seen before. He's seen power punchers, he's seen volume strikers, he's seen grapplers, and man, yeah, I just can't get over the experience edge here for Matthews. I think this comes down to, in my opinion, there's not one thing that Semelsberger does that Jake Matthews hasn't dealt with before in the past. He's dealt with power punchers, he's dealt with volume guys, he's dealt with good grapplers. I just think that he's going to be ready for anything that Semelsberger brings, so I'm actually pretty confident in this pick. Give me Jake Matthews to win via decision. Next, we have a women's strawweight fight between Cheyanne Vlismas and Cory McKenna. Vlismas comes in with a 7-2 record, currently sitting as a -190 favorite. Cory McKenna comes in with a 7-2 record as well, currently coming in as a +160 underdog. Both girls are 5'3", while Cheyanne Vlismas has a 63-inch reach and Cory McKenna having a 58.5-inch reach. Now, this is a very strange fight to me because both girls have fought really bad opposition, guys. Let's look at Cheyanne Vlismas. Her last win against Mallory Martin. Mallory Martin not in the UFC anymore. She's losing on the regional scene. Before that, she fought Gloria DePaula, not in the UFC anymore, losing in Invicta. Then you have Cory McKenna. You know, comes on the Contender Series, beats that stripper girl in Demopolis, who's not that great in my opinion. Kate Hansen, she beats as well. Kate Hansen immediately lost after winning her only UFC fight 3 in a row. Got kicked out of the UFC. Elise Reed, she actually lost to, which was very surprising because she had a grappling advantage in that fight, which she elected not to use. And then Miranda Granger, who's not in the UFC either anymore. And she's not very good either. So it's hard to say, man, because McKenna should have the grappling advantage in this fight, but I don't know if she'll have the strength advantage. Cheyenne's a pretty thick girl, you know what I mean? But yeah, not confident on a -190 favorite in Cheyanne here. She will be more active on the feet and throw more volume, but I just don't see having that much confidence in this fight, guys. I can't get to a side, can't get to a prop. Maybe fight goes to decision. It's probably -300. Go ahead and parlay that because I don't think anything girl is going to be finishing either girl here. Yeah, man, don't have a strong opinion on this fight. Keep it at that, and I'm gonna go with Cory McKenna, the underdog, +170. Why not? I'm not really, guys. I'm not impressed with Cheyanne Vlismas, I'll be honest. So give me Cory McKenna to win via decision. Up next, the first fight on the main card, we have a middleweight fight between Cody Brundage and Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Cody Brundage comes in with an 8-2 record, currently sitting as a +230 underdog. Oleksiejczuk comes in with a 17-5 record, currently sitting as a -280 favorite. Both guys are 6 feet tall, with Oleksiejczuk having a 2-inch reach advantage. And I'm going to go with Oleksiejczuk in this fight. I'm pretty confident he's going to be able to finish Cody Brundage. And hand up, guys, I'll be honest. Cody Brundage actually burned us in his last fight. He's coming off finishing Tresean Gore, which was a surprise to me, man. We did lay juice on Tresean Gore, which looking back was not our best bet. He's a very green fighter and, you know, definitely dangerous on the feet, and it was a good win, surprising win in my opinion for Brundage, because I kind of looked at him, you know, more as a grappler type guy or a wrestler-based fighter, and to see him, you know, get a knockout, it was impressive. Oleksiejczuk coming off beating Sam Alvey in the first round, which I guess, you know, not the best win. Sam Alvey, you know, definitely was supposed to win that fight. The fact that he finished him in the first round is a good look, though. And it was his first fight down at middleweight. So, you know, he was fighting at light heavyweight against guys like Dustin Jacoby, and he gave him a close fight. But I will say this, even though he lost to Dustin Jacoby, and a lot of people want to say that, you know, Jacoby's a good striker, and it was that shows to see how, you know, goes to show how good of a striker Oleksiejczuk is to have a close fight with Dustin Jacoby. But Dustin's leg was actually injured in that fight. One of his legs was compromised, so he was fighting a fight with a kickboxer who only had one leg and essentially could only throw punches, and he still lost. So he goes down in division, gets an easy layup fight, finishes Sam Alvey. Like I said, guys, Cody Brundage, more of a grappler-based wrestler, you could say, showing that he could knock people out in his last fight. But I think that Oleksiejczuk, you know, has an experience advantage and definitely the striking advantage. You could say that the grappling advantage definitely goes to Cody here, but I think that he's going to get, I think that Oleksiejczuk is going to get it done within 1.5 rounds. I'm gonna go with Olis Jacek, early 2nd round knockout. Up next, we have a banger of a fight in the lightweight division between Drew Dober and Bobby Green. Drew Dober comes in with a 25-11 record, currently sitting as a -155 favorite. Bobby Green, on the other side, comes in with a 29-13-1 record, currently sitting as a +130 underdog. Bobby Green will have 2 inches of height and 1 inch reach advantage on Drew Dober, but he will be 2 years older at 36 years old, while Drew Dober comes in at 34 years old. Now, guys, this is going to be such an exciting fight, a stylistic fight that definitely pleases the fans. 2 strikers that are not going to look at all to grapple in this fight, and they're just going to swing and bang. I am going to go with Drew Dober in this fight, but like I said earlier, guys, this card is filled with live underdogs, and Bobby Green is one. A prop I really like maybe to take a look at is Bobby Green via decision, or even Drew Dober via decision, because I do think that this fight is going to go all 3 rounds. We saw Drew Dober finish Alves in his last fight with a sick hook to the body, broke the dude's rib. Love fighters that can utilize going to the body and mix it up. Before that, almost got finished by Terrence McKinney, and Terrence McKinney sort of, blew his wad in the first couple minutes of that round and ended up finishing McKinney himself. And then Bobby Green, man, I actually met him at the pay-per-view Usman vs. Edwards. And so I'm 6'2", 190, and he's 5'10", and he was actually bigger than I thought I was going to be. I've met guys like Jalen Turner and Justin Gaethje and Bilal Muhammad. These guys are a lot smaller. Bobby Green was actually way taller than I thought he was going to be, but his eyes were hella red, man. I think I saw on his media day, he talks about how he smokes a bunch of blunts a day and stuff, this and that, and I believe him. His eyes are red, bro. But whatever. Back to how he fights. A point, fighter that can't really grapple. We saw him get smoked by Makhachev there, but he took care of business against Quinta, made him retire right after the fight. That was a great performance, and he looked good against Nasrat Haqparast as well. Nasrat has a little bit of grappling in his game as well, in his back pocket, and he was able to nullify him. But the fight that really impressed me with him was a loss against Fiziev, man. Fiziev, I have high hopes for. I think he's gonna be fighting for a belt one day, and he held his own and definitely came on strong. Was still there in that 3rd round. Fiziev gassed out, and Bobby Green was putting it on Rafael Fiziev in that 3rd round. And so Drew Dober, he's fought plenty of high-level strikers as well. The fight that I look to is the Brad Riddell fight. Brad Riddell is a very smart technical striker and knows what he's doing in there, and it was a close fight. He ended up losing, but it was definitely a close fight. The bet I like for this fight is fight to start round 3 at -200. I do think that I'm going to be betting that, and yeah, man, maybe even take a look over at the over. Like I said, I do think that if you're going to bet this fight, bet either guy via decision, because I don't see a finish happening. I'm going to go with Drew Dober. This is going to be a very close fight, and I just think that he's going to land the more impactful strikes. Bobby Green probably will have the volume, and he does have a good striking defense, man. He's very elusive, so he's hard to hit. So if Drew Dober goes and just chases the whole fight, he might be getting countered, real bad here by Bobby Green. But I have faith in him. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window betting on his money line. 155 is fair. I'm going with Drew Dober, though, via decision. Up next, we have a featherweight fight between Alex Bruce Leroy Caceres and Julian Juicy J. Erosa. Caceres comes in with a 19-13 record, currently sitting as a +150 underdog. Julian Juicy J. Erosa comes in with a 28-10 record, currently sitting as a -175 favorite. Erosa will be the slightly taller fighter, sitting at 6'1", while Caceres coming in at 5'10". 1 inch reach advantage for Erosa. Now, I'm picking Juicy J. Erosa to win this fight via decision. I don't think that he's going to have to worry about a finishing threat from Caceres at all. He's actually Caceres on a bit of a run until he got Sadiq Youssef in his last fight. I mean, Sadiq Youssef is a pretty high-level fighter, and you could say this is a step down in competition, but dude, man, all of Alex Caceres' wins kind of come against bums. If you're any sort of high-level fighter, you seem to be able to get the win over this guy. He's a pretty good striker, rangy striker, tall, skinny guy. But I don't think he has anything really over Juicy J. Erosa here. I think that Juicy J. Erosa really impressed people, especially me, when he beat Hakeem Duwadu in his last fight. We had money on me Hakeem, and he put on a clinic, I'll be honest. And it's one of those fights where you remember the losses more than you remember the wins. And when we lost that bet, I was like, oh man, Juicy J, I'll be trying to bet him in the future. And this is a pretty fair spot, -175 over Caceres. Probably going to go to decision, and I don't see Caceres, using his grappling or in the clinch work at all on the cage here, or having a power advantage over Juicy J. Erosa at all. I think Erosa is going to have enough volume and definitely a power advantage here to win this fight. So Give me Erosa either by late knockout or decision, but I'm going to go for the show. Juicy J Erosa via decision. And now it's time for this phenomenal co-main event of a fight. But before we do that, guys, do me a favor, hit that like button, leave us a comment, let me know what you think about our video so far. We have Arman Tsarukyan versus Damir Ismagulov. Arman comes in with an 18-3 record, currently sitting as a -190 favorite. Damir Ismagulov comes in with a 24-1 record, coming in with the +160 sign next to his name. Man, this is going to be a close ass fight. And I'm ultimately going to pick Arman Tsarukyan, but I cannot bet -190 here. 1.9 units to win one. It's going to be a close fight, man. I view this more as like a pick 'em. He should be, if I don't want to say the underdog, but he should be very close to a pick 'em here because Damir is good, man. Damir, while he's been kind of inactive, he's shown that he's capable everywhere. He's hard to take down. I will say his last fight was extremely close. I did think he edged it out just slightly, but it wasn't a very convincing win. Whereas Arman got robbed in his last fight. He was coming off a 5-round decision loss to Gamrot. And, you know, you could say it's a bad look, but because he got outstruck by Gamrot, but in the first 3 rounds, he was ahead on all 3 judges' scorecards, and he had outlanded Gamrot every single round. This guy has elite grappling. He's super young. We obviously saw him debut against Islam Makhachev, and this guy's been on my radar ever since. This kid's a beast, man. Tiger Muay Thai fighter, can wrestle, and obviously has good striking, but Damir definitely will have the advantage on the feet here. It's just that I think that Arman might have the speed advantage just slight, and he, in my opinion, does have the grappling advantage. Once he gets there, I think that he's going to be the better grappler on the ground. But dude, all these dudes from like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, all these places, Eastern Caucasus Mountain, you know, Russia area, you know, they all can grapple. So I don't expect Damir just to get, you know, mounted here and dominated. But if he does, man, hands up to Arman, because that would be very impressive. I think that Arman, you know, is just skyrocketing toward the top of the division, but this is a very tough test, man. It's one of those fights where these two have to fight each other because no one else was going to fight him. All these guys want to deny fights. I believe Ismagulov said that it was either Ismagulov or Arman. One of them said that RDA turned him down, and I'm like, yeah, I bet, because this is one of those guys where not a lot of people know him, and they're extremely skilled. So it's a lose-lose fight. If he win, a lot of people, the casuals out there, are like, who the hell is that? Or, you know, they don't give you credit for winning a big name fight. And if you were to beat him, or if you just lose straight up, like there's a chance you might lose. So it's one of those new wave type fights at 155. I am going to go with Arman to win a close decision, but I can't bet -190. I really am getting close to betting Damir, man. +160 is not bad. But, man, I'd rather just bet fight goes to the decision because I don't see either guy getting finished. We did see Damir get cracked early in the Alves fight and get put down, but he brushed it off. It was fine. And you can attribute that to a little bit of ring rust. He hadn't fought in forever, and one of those guys that has visa issues and stuff like that. But he will be the older fighter here. He is 31 years old, while Arman, you know, in his younger 20s. But, man, extremely excited for this fight. I'm going with Arman Tsarukyan to edge out a very close decision. In the main event, we have Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier taking on Sean Jab Merchant Strickland. Cannonier comes in with a 15-6 record, currently sitting him as a pick'em -110 to Sean Strickland coming in with a 25-4 record. Like I said, both guys -110 pick'em right down the line even. Now I'm going to keep the graphic up for just a little longer. One thing you don't see on the graphic there is there will be a significant age gap in this fight. Cannonier coming in 7 years older at 38 years old, while Sean Strickland comes in at 31. Now, I'm picking Jared Cannonier to win this fight, but Sean Strickland, if he's going to win via decision. We saw him fight Alex Pereira and utilize one of the worst game plans of all time and decided to strike against one of the most dangerous strikers this game has ever seen, really. And he got put, you know, first class plane ticket to Left Hook City, and he got finished brutally. Absolute terrible IQ, and that's just the type of guy he is. He's gonna come forward and want to brawl. He wants to entertain, and he doesn't have much of a power threat here at all. I don't think Cannonier is gonna have to respect the power from Strickland. It's more the volume and pace he's gonna be able to put on Cannonier, and I think Cannonier, I don't want to say if he's smart, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him utilize those leg kicks and try to limit the movement of Strickland here. They are going to be in the small octagon in the apex, and that tends to lead to more, you know, action, I guess you could say. And if not, guys are circling around, and if you're leg kicking them all fight, they're probably going to be less likely to do that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Cannonier utilize that early here, but I'm picking Cannonier. I think that he's going to knock out Sean Strickland. If this fight does go to decision, I think that Sean Strickland won the fight, but I wouldn't be surprised at the same time. Hot take, maybe even take a sprinkle of that Cannonier decision, because I think the more powerful shots are going to be coming from Cannonier, and I wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 shots winning rounds here. Man, at -110 though, I wish I could have got +105 or even +100 even money on him. At -110, I don't know if I'm going to be betting him, but I am picking Jared Cannonier to win this fight. Nothing against Sean Strickland. I think he's super funny. It's just that, he came out against Alex Pereira and he used that cocksucker guard. Just both hands in front of him, and I don't know what he was thinking. And luckily, I would have been pissed if I would have bet on him, but I didn't have any money on that fight. And yeah, man, not the smartest guy in the box or in the class, you could say. Ultimately, going with a killer gorilla to win this fight via 3rd or 4th round knockout. And now it's time for the most important part of the show. It's time for our official bets for UFC Vegas 66. So far, we have a couple parlays and a couple non-violent sprinkles, you could say. Our first bet actually got canceled. Deron Winn versus Julian Marquez. Deron Winn ended up pulling out of the fight this morning. He had some sort of health issue and unable to fight. So we ended up getting refunded on 1.55 units. Our first bet of the week canceled. Which brings us to our 2-leg parlay here. We have Jake Matthews and Sergey Morozov to win at -110. 1.25 units on that. I feel pretty confident about this bet. I think both guys are the better MMA fighters. And with those lines, I feel comfortable laying that juice. Then we have a couple sprinkles, guys, where we need no violence. We need guys to extend their fights. We have Sergey Morozov and Newson. Fight starts round 3 at -175 for 0.55 units. I feel pretty confident about this bet. Unless Sergey actually absolutely sparks Journey, or even Journey absolutely sparks Sergey. We've seen him rock before as well. I feel that this fight's going to get extended and Morozov's going to use his grappling and push it past 10 minutes. Then we have a pretty risky bet, in my opinion, but we're gamblers, guys. We have Manel, Kape, and David Dvorak. Fight starts round 3 at -165 for a half-unit shot. Now, David Dvorak's never been knocked out. Kape tends to win his fights via finish, and it sort of takes him a little bit to get going. He's kind of a slow starter there in the beginning, but I'm kind of just hoping that Dvorak's going to be able to maintain range and not just walk forward right into a knockout shot. And even if Kape does find the finish, I hope it happens after that 10-minute mark. After that, we have a pretty sizable bet here. Drew Dober versus Bobby Green. Fight starts round 3 at -225 for 2.25 units. This will be the biggest bet of the night for us, guys, and it's going to be a banger of a fight, but I have faith both guys are durable enough to last 10 minutes and extend this fight to the 3rd round. It's our biggest bet of the night, like I said, guys, and I feel super confident about this bet. After that, another fight starts round 3. We have Alex Caceres and Julian Juicy J. Rosa. Fight starts round 3 at -200, and we laid 2 units on this bet as well. Caceres has absolutely no power threat for Julian here, and if anything, Julian is going to be the one finishing Caceres, in my opinion. I don't think that he's going to be able to do it. I think this fight definitely goes to round 3, and I feel super confident about this bet. Our last bet is a parlay long shot. 0.2 units, not very much bet on this at all. But guys, we're taking Said Nurmagomedov to win via decision +210, parlayed with Julian Juicy J. Rosa to win via decision at +170 for +737 odds. I feel actually really confident about this because, well, first of all, I think Nurmagomedov's going to win the fight, and I think he's going to win via decision because both guys are pretty good and durable. Kakhramonov is going to be able to use his grappling and extend this, in my opinion, if he does get put in any danger on the feet. And then Rosa, man, I don't think he's going to be able to put away Caceres. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't there in the 3rd round. If it does happen, I think it happens late. So yeah, man, I think he's going to win a decision here. And at +737, I had to sprinkle a little bit on that bet. So that'll do it for our episode, guys. Thanks so much for watching. We really appreciate the support. It's our last card of the year. It's crazy how fast time flies, and we're definitely going to make a couple more videos. Going to make a recap on this week and then a recap on the year. Maybe do something like we did last year. We did best fighter, best underdog, stuff like that. And yeah, man, just thanks so much for watching, guys. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about my bets, and good luck on your bets, and we'll see you guys next week.